Hey, it's Elrod, and I'm going to share with you the 6 books that will change your life this year. I've got them sitting right in front of me. I'm going to go through them one at a time for you, and I'm going to save my favorite for last. So make sure you watch until the end. First book, Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. You may or may not know this, but I ran a live event for 6 years called Your Best Year Ever Blueprint before I knew about Michael Hyatt's work. And so that was my whole world. For 6 years, it was studying how do you set yourself up to win in the next 12 months. This is the best book I've ever read on the topic. And it doesn't matter what part of the year you're in. It could be June. Read this book and apply this to the next 6 months of your life, 12 months of your life. It's the most effective book at setting you up in terms of not just the logistics, like here's how you set goals and here's how you make a plan. That's crucial. And this book does it better than any other. But what it does is it handles the internal limitations, the self-imposed limitations, the obstacles that we encounter, the psychological, mental, emotional. It helps you deal with all of those. It does all the pre-work so that you move through all the things that can hold you back and really hit the next 6 to 12 months running. Again, whatever time of year it is, this is the best book on setting your goals, making your plans, setting yourself up for success. I read this last year and I read it again this year. All right, Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. Highly recommended. Next book, Love Dare. The Love Dare, this is my favorite book on relationships, on marriage. What I love about it is there's 40 days and 40 dares. So essentially it's set up where every single day you read like a 2 to 4 page chapter with a really profound lesson. And then you're given a dare, which is essentially an action step. It's do something in alignment with this lesson for your spouse so that they actually get to experience the benefits of what you just learned. And so do you, because you're putting it into practice. So for example, one of the chapters is on thoughtfulness. And so the dare is simply, hey, at some point today, send your spouse a message letting them know that you're thinking about them, just so they feel that love from you. Nothing fancy, but it's actionable. And then at the end of that chapter, after the dare, is a journal prompt so that you can journal what impact that lesson and that action made in your life, in your relationship, on your significant other, etc. So my favorite book, in fact, it's so good that I just bought this morning. I bought the another book that by the same author called The Love Dare for Parents. So it's 40 things that you do for your kids over the course of 40 days. So I'm excited about that. So this is my favorite book literally I've ever read on marriage. It's called The Love Dare. And it is by, I don't know, but it's the only book called The Love Dare. So go find out. Wealthy and Well Known. This is my favorite book on personal branding. And it's, you can see how, this thing is so folded up. But favorite book on personal branding, and favorite book really if you're an entrepreneur, because you might think, well, do I need a personal brand? What's a personal brand? I don't know. If you are a professional, even if you work at a company, or if you're an entrepreneur especially, your personal brand is how you're perceived by other people through how you show up, through the value that you add, the knowledge that you bring, so on and so forth. This is the Bible, if you will, on personal branding. It's by Rory and AJ Vaden. They run the company Brand Builders Group, and they work with some of the biggest personal brands in the world. And I've been working with them for many years and love these two. Wealthy and Well Known, highly recommend it. Third book, this is if you are a parent. Building Better Families by Matthew Kelly. This is, again, literally maybe the best book. Literally, maybe, do those go together? I don't know. The best book that I've read on building a better family, on really creating your culture, your values, how you show up for your kids, for your significant other. So Love Dare was just about your spouse. This is really about the family dynamic and how to make sure that your family is thriving. Building Better Families by Matthew Kelly. Highly, highly recommend it. All right, we got 2 more. I'm saving the best for last. At best being subjective, but The AI-Driven Leader by Jeff Woods. There are so many books out there on AI. Jeff Woods maybe wrote the best one. I haven't read them all, so I can't really say it's the best one, but it's my favorite. It's the AI-Driven Leader, Harnessing AI to Make Faster, Smarter Decisions. What I love about Jeff Woods, and I had Jeff on the podcast a year or so ago, talking about this book when it first came out, and that's how I discovered it. And I actually was not into AI at that time. I was like, I don't like AI. I think it's going to do more harm for good than for humanity. I was in that camp. Actually, I'm still in that camp, but it's not going anywhere, right? AI is not going anywhere. So Jeff really breaks down some first principles, some fundamentals of how to utilize AI, not to replace your thinking, which a lot of people, too many people are doing, but as a leader, how do you use AI to complement your thinking as your thought partner, to bring out the best in you, to get more done, to leverage your team, so on and so forth? I highly recommend, if you are a leader or a business owner, an entrepreneur, whatever you define yourself as, The AI Driven Leader, one of the greatest books out there on AI. About two of my favorite products. I've been taking these for 4 years, and they are now a sponsor of the podcast. Cured Nutrition, Flow Gummies. I start every day with 2 of these. I meditate for 30 minutes without any supplements, and then I take Flow Gummies 7 days a week, almost every day. And then I go to bed with night oil. 30 minutes before bed, I take night oil, and it helps me fall asleep and stay asleep. So I start my day with Flow Gummies. I end my day with night oil. If you want to implement my routine into your day with Cured Nutrition, go to curednutrition.com/Hal. Again, that's curednutrition.com/Hal, and use the discount code HAL at checkout for 20% off your entire order. Flow Gummies to start the day, night oil to fall asleep. You'll feel better. You'll act better. You'll perform better. Check it out. You ready? My favorite book that I read in 2025 that will set you up for a great 2026. It is The Illusion of Money by Kyle Cease. Now, this is one, if you're like me, do you buy more books than you can possibly read? Like I buy, my wife loves this, by the way, but I buy, on Amazon, I'm like, oh, I need that one. I need that one. I need that one, right? Like every week I'll have like 3 books arrive, and, I read like a book a month. So I got 3 books coming a week. So 12 a month, I'm reading 1 a month. You can do the math, right? So this is a book that I bought a few years ago. I've actually been a fan of Kyle Cease's since 2007. If you don't know who Kyle is, he's one of my favorite thought leaders out there. He was a stand-up comedian. He was actually rated the #1 stand-up comedian on Comedy Central, like in 2009, I think. And I discovered him back then. I bought his DVD. That's how, he had a DVD, right? I bought his comedy DVD. I loved it so much. I gifted it to my sister, I think some friends. And then Kyle had a profound shift where he went from being a stand-up comedian, and he was in some big Hollywood movies, to feeling like he was best suited to use his gifts of humor and his insights and communication abilities to bless people spiritually in their life. And so he made a huge, profound shift. This is really, it's called The Illusion of Money, Why Chasing Money is Stopping You from Receiving It. But this is really a spiritual book disguised as a book on money. It's really about doing the inner work. And I'm telling you, I actually recommend the audiobook on this one. So I read the physical book that I'm holding in my hands, but my friend who I recommended this to, Jeremy Reisig, Jeremy probably, he's our chief growth officer at Miracle Morning. I recommended this book to him, and he got the audiobook, and we were talking. He goes, hey, did you do the physical book for Kyle's Illusion of Money, or did you listen to the audiobook? I said, oh, I have the physical book. He goes, dude, he's a stand-up comedian. Like, how are you not listening to he goes, it's so funny. You have to listen to audio. And so this book is as profound. It's actually more profound than it is humorous, but listen to the audiobook. So I've read the book, and I'm listening to the audiobook, and I'm actually re-listening to it again. So I'm on my 3rd time through this book. That, I'm telling you, I love this book by Kyle Cease, The Illusion of Money. Highly, highly recommend it. So real quick, I'm just going to go through the 6 one last time. Your Best Year Yet by Michael Hyatt will set you up to really have a breakthrough in your personal and professional goals. And again, you don't have to wait till the end of the year or the beginning of the year to read this book. Whatever time of year it is, get this book and apply it to the rest of this year and kicking off the new year. The Love Dare, favorite book I've ever read for relationships. It's 1 page or 1 chapter a day, short chapters, followed by a dare, followed by a journal prompt. Love the format, love the content. This is transformative in my marriage. The Love Dare. Wealthy and Well-Known. If you want to become wealthy and well-known, you want to build a personal brand, this book by Rory and AJ Vaden is the best one out there, in my opinion. Building Better Families. Phenomenal book for a mom or a dad. If you have kids, you have a family, this will set you up for success in your family. The AI Driven Leader, my favorite first principles book on AI. So not the latest trend, the latest fad. It's how do you approach AI as a leader to get the most out of it and have it amplify your abilities, not replace them. And last but not least, The Illusion of Money by Kyle Cease. Love it. recommend it. Can't recommend this enough. I've been texting people this audiobook saying, you got to get this. You got to listen to the audiobook. So if you want to get the print book, you can, but I highly recommend getting the audiobook of The Illusion of Money. Again, I'm on my third read through. That is it. What are your favorite books that you read either this last year or previously, and you want to share them because you feel like they will make a big impact in my life or anybody listening? So if you're watching this and there's comments, if you're on YouTube, please in the comments below, let me know if you've read any of these books. And if you haven't, let me know what your favorite books are that you recommend that I read, and I'll read all these comments and get back to you. So last but not least, please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform, whether that is YouTube, but not all the episodes go on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, please subscribe. And if you've been a listener for a while and you've gotten a lot of value from the podcast, please take a minute to leave a review. It would mean a ton. Rate the podcast, leave a review. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Sending you so much love. And may one of these 6 books transform your life this year and beyond. Love you. Talk to you soon.